Good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is Africa Focus on KOW TV. My name is Maurice Mbugwa. From the nuclear brink in the Middle East to the democratic milestone in Hargeisa and the rail links of East Africa, we bring you the stories that define the African continent. Now, tonight we open with a chilling analysis of a global conflict that has moved from the shadows into a terrifying new light. The war between the US-Israeli alliance and Iran has entered a phase of direct nuclear provocation that the world has not seen in generations. This past weekend, President Donald Trump issued a final 48-hour ultimatum to Iran, threatening to destroy Iran's entire power grid, starting with its largest plant, unless the Strait of Hormuz is fully reopened without threats. Now, the clock is ticking at this very hour. In response, Iran has proven that its reach is far longer than the Western intelligence previously admitted. Two intermediate-range ballistic missiles were fired at Diego Garcia, the critical US-UK military base in the heart of the Indian Ocean. While the missile missed their mark, the message hit home. European capitals like Berlin, Paris, and Rome are now within Iran's direct strike range. The situation escalated further as the US struck the Natanz nuclear facility for the third time in a year, prompting a swift and historic retaliation. For the first time in this war, Iran targeted Israel's nuclear city of Dimona. While the reactor itself remains intact, a direct hit on a residential building and a subsequent mass casualty strike on the city of Arad have left over 100 people wounded. From an African perspective, this isn't a distant war. It is a systematic shock, with oil markets now bracing for a staggering $175 a barrel and over 3,000 vessels stranded in a maritime parking lot. The global economy is effectively being held hostage. The death toll has surpassed 1,500 in Iran, and 1 million people have fled their homes in Lebanon. While President Donald Trump speaks of winding down, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has vowed that the intensity of attacks will increase significantly this week. For the continent, which relies on global stability for every liter of fuel and every grain of wheat, this halfway stage of the campaign feels like a precipice. This global turbulence is already landing heavily on the African runways, creating a twin crisis on the African aviation industry. Airlines across the continent are currently facing a crisis of survival as jet fuel price gets out of control. The math is simple but devastating. 70% of Africa's jet fuel and kerosene imports must pass through that very same Strait of Hormuz, now under blockade, since the shipping lanes effectively turned into a parking lot last month. A fifth of the world's oil supply has vanished, leaving African carriers exposed. For major global airlines, fuel is a manageable expense, but for regional operators, it accounts for nearly 40% of all operating costs. For African low-cost carriers, that figure jumps to a staggering 55%. This volatility has made it nearly impossible for operators to plan routes or quote ticket prices in advance, as a single overnight spike in crude could turn a profitable flight into a massive financial loss. Now, the International Maritime Organization has confirmed that the Persian Gulf has become a stagnant pool for over 3,000 stranded vessels, and the UK Maritime Trade Operations Agency has kept the threat level at critical. As long as this blockade remains, African airlines will continue to bleed revenue without the ability to hedge fuel cost or predict shipping reliability. Many regional carriers are warning that they may be forced to ground fleets or cut vital domestic routes. As the war enters its most unpredictable phase, the wings of African commerce are being clipped by a conflict thousands of miles away, threatening the connectivity that drives its continental trade. Amidst this global authoritarian wave and economic distress, the Republic of Somaliland is providing a striking counter-narrative that demands our attention. In a new analysis of global liberty, Somaliland has emerged as a remarkable standout in the latest Freedom House assessment. Earning a partly free rating of 47 out of 100, Somaliland has significantly outpaced its neighbors and many established regional powers. To put this in perspective, this score is nearly 6 times higher than Somalia's 8 out of 100 and comfortably ahead of Ethiopia, Tunisia, and Morocco. This success is not accidental. It is the direct result of Somaliland's resilient democratic process, capped by a peaceful and highly competitive presidential election. Since restoring its independence in 1991 and receiving formal recognition from Israel late last year, Hargeisa has backed the global trend of democratic backsliding. While 19 consecutive years of net global freedom decline have seen coups and repression rise elsewhere, Somaliland has strengthened its political rights. This model of governance stability, achieved even without full universal recognition, offers a compelling lesson for the Horn of Africa. It suggests that democratic resilience isn't just a Western ideology, but a viable African-led path to stability. Despite the lack of a UN seat, Somaliland's relative success in maintaining competitive elections and civil liberties offers a powerful counter-narrative to the broader erosion of freedom seen across the Arab world and the Horn of Africa. While challenges remain, especially regarding the occasional pressure on media space, Somaliland continues to draw international attention as a rare bright spot. In a region often defined by autocratic consolidation, Somaliland's trajectory proves that competitive elections and civil liberties can thrive even in the most challenging neighborhoods. It is a nation proving that legitimacy is earned through governance, not just a seat at the table in New York. Now, while Somaliland builds its democratic pillars, East Africa is busy laying the steel foundation for a new era of regional integration. On Saturday, a major milestone was reached at Kibos in Kisumu as Kenya and Uganda officially broke ground on the next phase of the standard gauge railway. This 107-kilometer stretch from Kisumu to Malaba is the missing link in a nearly 1,000-kilometer railway running from the port of Mombasa to the Ugandan border. Now, President William Ruto described the move as a decisive and consequential step toward linking the entire East African region to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. This Chinese-funded extension, due for completion by June next year, aims to fundamentally change how we move goods across borders. Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni was clear about the mission, stating that all heavy cargo and petroleum products must be moved off our congested roads and onto the trucks and pipelines. The goal is to ease the pressure on our road networks, cut down on fatal accidents, and drastically reduce the cost of transnational trade. However, the project has been long delayed, leaving Kenya with a significant debt burden to Beijing. In fact, further credit from China has been on hold until this vital link to Uganda is finished, as the first shovels hit the dirt in Kisumu. The hope is that this infrastructure will finally generate the trade volumes needed to pay off the heavy price of its construction. By transferring heavy luggage from the road to the train, East Africa is betting on a faster, safer, and more connected future. And that brings us to the close of our bulletin tonight, as the world's map continues to shift and our continent builds its own path forward. KOW TV remains your eyes and ears on the stories that define the African continent. Thank you for joining us on Africa Focus. My name is Maurice Mbugwa. Thank you for watching.